So welcome back to the second video in our UV laser series. This is going to be going through how we set up our plinth and how we run the calibration files and create our first test file using the xTool F2 Ultra UV. If you've got one of these lasers on the way or you've just got one and you're not sure where to start, you are in the right place. Follow through with this channel. We have got loads of videos coming. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. For this video, we need to build our platform first, our deep inner engraving platform. So these are all the bits that come in that box. So you have the platform legs that are interlocking. You have a hexagon screwdriver. You've got the top base, you've got the lower base, you have the actual adjustment arm, and then you have 3 thumb screws and 8 countersunk screws. And then finally, you have your actual specific lens. So between that amount of items and those specific items, we are going to build our platform. Then we are going to move on to setting the lens up into the actual machine. Then we'll move over and run our calibration. So we're going to start off with these 2 interlocking pieces, and they will just slot straight on as so. And then you can see there's a bit of flex in it, but just put it on the desk like that. Then the next thing we are actually going to do is take this base here, ensuring the writing is front facing, and we're just going to sit that on top of that like that. And actually what we'll do at this point is turn that upside down, and then here you'll see the screws should line up. Using the countersunk screws and the screwdriver that came with it, we're just going to offer up the screw to that first corner and just screw it all the way in. And once there, it should get a bit easier because it will start tying things into place. I like to do the opposite corner after this, so we're going to rotate it around. I'm going to place this one in here like so, and then screw that one in as well. And once you've done that, that should give it a bit more rigidity and structure, and then allow us to move on to the final 2 corners, which we will do now. Screw in there, locate it in place, then also screw that one down. Final corner here in place. And as you can see, this is really simple and easy to do. I was really impressed with the design of this. That gives us our base platform. What we're doing next is taking the base, make sure the numbers are facing the front. So the front of our bottom is that bit. It's not that important, but I just like it to be matching what is in the instructions, and that is, once again, taking our countersunk screws, lining it up with the hole on the first corner like that. We'll screw it in place, and now we'll do the same for the remaining 3 screws. Our platform is now built and it is very solid. Just go around one more time after you've done the initial tightening and make sure everything is nice and tight so it sits flush. So let's move on to the actual adjustment arm and fitting that. One point to note with this adjustment arm, it can only go on one way. It has a grooved edge there, which will go into this part. But the first thing you need to do, if you look at this part here, and I'll point it out with the screw itself, there is a thread there, and take one of the 3 thumb screws and screw it in. It will actually screw into place until it goes through the other side. Then what that will allow us to do is to actually locate it onto the corner where the threaded hole is there. As I'm going to show you, screw it down until it bites enough. And then what you have is that's locked in place. And then this is now adjustable as it should be. There is a circular cutout there, which I guess is the resting point. You can put it back, screw it down, and then that locks everything in place into the actual corner of our grid square. Now that we've built our platform, we're going to put it to the side, ensuring we keep the 2 thumb screws that are remaining next to it, because now we need to fit our inner engraving lens, and this will have a lens cap on it on both sides. And what we want to do first is to pop off the end lens cap, and you're going to see it's like a bayonet style locking mechanism, and there is also writing on the front. This is very important because you'll find it fiddly the first time you do it. When you put this thing in and offer it up, make sure that circle there is facing you, okay? That's important there. But first, what I will quickly do is pop that back on because I need to show you how to remove the existing lens. So we are now going to remove the existing lens that comes fitted in the machine. The first thing I will say is I am going to power the machine off, as you can see there, because I don't want any electricity flowing through this when I'm doing it. And then I'm going to offer my hand up around it, touching the outside knurled edges, and I'm going to turn it to the left. So this direction, which is clockwise, and that will then just lower down. And as you can see, we're good. An important part to do here is to take your, and I'll move the camera down so you can see this, take your lens cover off your inner engraving one, pop it straight onto the top of that so that we keep it clean, and then put it to the side. We're also going to be removing this lens cap once we've fitted it and putting that on there as well. So with the fitment of the inner engraving lens, this dot here you want facing you. This is a bit of a fiddly process. You'll have to get used to it in time, but just make sure that's in front of you. And then what you're going to do is offer it up centrally as best you can until it won't go any further. And then once you feel it locking in, once you feel it all the way, turn it the opposite side, so anti-clockwise, as much as it will go. And then once you've done that, it is fitted. To that point, you want to pop off the lens cap, because we are going to be placing that back onto our other lens to make sure we keep it optimized and as clean as possible. And there you go. We now have a fitted inner engraving lens, and we have our other lens protected and ready to place somewhere safe. That takes us back to our platform, which we will now install. And in the instructions, it shows the writing as forward facing. So that's the way I do it. And as you can see, these screws here, there are 4 threaded holes. They need to line up with one of these screws on the bed here. So I am going to place it front facing like that. And then once again, these thumb screws are going to screw into the initial threaded holes, which I'm going to show you now, until it's flush. I get it till it's flush at the bottom, and then the opposite side as well, until that one is also flush to the bottom. And then what that should allow you to do is place it centrally, just screw down a little bit until you can feel it biting into the threaded hole, which I can now. Then do the same with the rear one. Don't tighten the first one until you've got the second one also screwed in. And at this point, they're now both screwing in at the same time, all the way in, and the rear one's almost done. And there you go. You've now got a solid platform with our base and our lens installed in the top and our adjustable lever here. So there you go. Mechanically, we are set up. We're going to move over to the software now and get to the next step. So now that we've got everything installed, when you turn your machine back on and connect to xTool Studio, you'll probably be greeted with this screen right here. And it's basically talking you through the process we've just ran through. Click got it, you're good to go then. So now we can move on to the next step. With the lens being installed, what they always recommend is run a calibration each time you swap either lens. It's just a good way to make sure everything is optimized. So what we're going to do is we are going to click start calibration, and what it will ask us to do is to screw down the base. And as you can see, it's actually showing the opposite position to where I put my thumb screws. It doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. And then the machine, when you bought it, it does come with an actual inner engraving crystal, a K9 crystal. So we will take that out of the box it comes in, and we're going to fit it as shown here. So now is probably a good time to mention the type of crystal you're going to need to do this. You need a specific crystal, which is a K9 crystal. There is one that comes with your machine, but if you have already used it or you can't find it, you can buy them from xTool. I have done that, and they come nicely packaged. You can also get them from other sources like Alibaba, or there are some other websites as well out there. You have to make sure it's legitimate K9. That is crucial. In this case, I'm going to use the one I did purchase from xTool directly, and we're going to move forward with that crystal, so I know it's going to be good. So once we've got our platform secured, we are going to tick the secured button just there, and we know we have ours secured, so we can do that. Then it's going to say, please use the official K9 inner carved glass. I've just shown you the one I'm talking about. To ensure calibration accuracy, measure as shown and confirm the Z axis value. So what that means is put it in the position it's showing you there, measure the height of that, and let it, and then specify to this what it is. In this case, I have a 50mm high one, so I'm going to change that to 50. The refractive index will stay the same. It is 1.5. So then we are going to click next and go to our next page, and you can see the laser will start adjusting itself. So it's going to ask us to actually place our crystal down and make sure the number on our slider that I showed you is down on 35. So we'll go ahead and do that now. So we are going to place our crystal in. We're going to loosen this thumb screw off and just make sure there are numbers on the side here. You're probably struggling to see them, but we're going to make sure the 35 on this lines up with the arrow, and then we're going to tighten that thumb screw down. That is perfect. Then we are going to push our crystal into the corner. One thing I will say is make sure you don't have any fingerprints on your crystal, so get some alcohol solution and a cloth and clean it. I have a thumbprint on mine, so I'll make sure I do that before I move forward. There you go. I sprayed some alcohol. I'm just wiping it with a lint-free cloth, microfiber cloth, and now I am happy that that is a clean crystal. So we've done that. We've set it all up. We are now going to click that engrave button. It's going to send something through to our terminal. Then we're going to go over there and see it do what it's going to do. Here is our file that has been sent through. So we will move over, we'll get this set up, and then we are going to watch this live happen. So we've just carried out the engraving. We're now going to click the next button, and what it will say is open the lid, remove the glass, manually measure the distance between the top surface of the cube marker top and the upper surface of the glass, then enter the value. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. I'll try and give you a better look. So it has engraved a cube in there, as you can see, and there is some writing on the top which says top. So what it's asking us to do is to get our ruler and basically measure as close as we can what the distance is from the top of the cube to our actual top of our crystal. And in this case, mine is about 21 millimeters. So we've measured 21 millimeters. I'm going to type it in there. It is asking for the value in millimeters, so make sure you do that. Then we're going to click confirm, and that's it. Calibration done. So what I will say is it will sacrifice one of your crystals doing this, but you can just reuse that same crystal when you want to recalibrate going forward. So there is one more calibration we can run for the inner engraving, and so far we've done the inner engraving Z-axis calibration. We can also do the inner engraving work area calibration, which I think we should do, and we will run through as part of this, just so you have a full arsenal of calibration things you can do to make sure you're set up. So we're going to click on start calibration, and it's going to say during the engraving process, please perform calibration if any of the following occurs. Material is correctly placed and the parameters are set properly, but the actual engraving position significantly deviates. We haven't had that, but just in case that happened, or the engraved item appears distorted. So we're going to click start calibration, and it's going to tell us what we need now. So we're going to need some tape, calibration card and test card, and the riser itself. Then it's going to say please fit your riser, which we have already done. So we're going to click that secured box and move on to next. Now it's going to adjust itself accordingly, as you can see it doing behind us. And once it's ready, it will then bring us to our next page, which is this right here. And it's saying place the test card on the riser, ensure full contact with the surface, close the lid and engrave to start. So let's move on and do that first. We need to remove our little piece here because in this point we don't need it for this. We're going to place our card. I am going to reuse one that I've used previously just because I don't want to, I don't want to inadvertently use material for the sake of it. So I'm going to stick this onto the platform using my tape so that is secure and it cannot go anywhere. That's critical for this. There you go. And we want it flat, so I will put a piece on this side as well. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be enough that we get accurate results, because ultimately the more effort we put into this part, the better results we get. So there you go. We have it ready to go. Let's move on to our next stage. The other thing it says is to avoid ambient light. So I am going to turn off all light out around this room. So I'm going to turn off the main light as well. And it's going to be darker, but this will allow it to have a more accurate reading. So I've turned off the ambient light. I have now taped it down, as you've seen. We're going to click the engrave button and it will then beep and assume it's ready to go. So what we'll do is go over and press our button. Now we're going to press the ready button. So we've carried that out. We are now going to click take photo, and it will take a photo of our little test grid that we've done there. We're going to click the next button and it's going to adjust itself. And now it's going to say open the lid, remove the test card and place the calibration card down. And then we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to take a photo and hopefully it will calibrate itself. So we're going to remove our pre-done one. Then we're going to place the calibration card on there, and using some tape, I am going to secure it down as best as possible. There we go. So now that we've done that, we are going to click take photo and it will do that. We're going to click the next button. And once we've done that, it should give us our test grid against our calibration lines. And what it's basically asking us to do is to make sure that every single dot is overlapping with what it thinks it is. In this case, everything looks good to me. So I am going to click the align button and then click confirm. Once we've done that, as you can see, that second calibration for the inner engraving lens has been completed. So here is our test tutorial page that you'll be greeted with. We are going to be making the item you're showing right there. So we're going to click start the tutorial and it's going to show us through the full process, which is really good. It's going to get us a good idea. So the first thing it's saying is make sure you replace your lens. We have already done that, so we don't need to worry about it. The next thing it's saying is make sure your riser is in place. We've already done that once again, so don't worry about that. Then it's saying prepare your glass, and it's saying to use an 80 by 50 millimeter glass, which we have. We know that from the box. So now we're going to do that. We're going to put it into the same position we did for the calibration, and we are then going to position it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. So as I mentioned, we're going to set this up. We're going to place our item in that position there. So in this case, it's going to be set on that 35 mark on the actual part. Then we're going to get our crystal, place in. My crystal at the moment is covered in fingerprints where I've been handling it for the engraving calibration. I'm going to clean it. Then we're going to get to the next step. As you can see, that's looking much cleaner. I am actually going to rotate it around as well so that we've got more of our clean clear unengraved crystal for this example. So the first step here is we need to select inner engraving. So it's going to ask us to click the mode. We will select inner engraving mode, and then it's going to ask us then to select our material. And once again, it's already defaulted to K9 inner carved glass. But if you want to find it yourself, you click on material, you'll get presented with the material library you can see here. And then we're going to click apply on that as shown there. And then it says to ensure accurate model position inside the glass, dragging and editing are temporarily disabled. So we can modify the position of this design in this case because it wants us to engrave it the right way. But for future designs where you're putting your own images in, you can adjust the size and the positioning on those. So let's click that next button. Then it's going to just ask us to click the process, as simple as that. In terms of our settings, we're not going to even adjust them because the material settings has its own optimum settings applied to it. So we'll click that process button. It's then going to give us a rough estimate time. And in this case, 3 minutes, 16 seconds. Now we're going to click the start button. You're going to hear it beep. That means it's ready to go. Let's move over and see how this thing looks. Going to click the orange start button on our console, and then off we go. There we have it. Our test engraving has finished. I will try to show you it. As you can see, that is looking really good. I mean, it's a galaxy inside of the crystal, 3D, visible on all sides. And if I can hold my hand up so you can actually see it, really, really good result. So there you have it. We have our first inner engraving done, as well as the calibration, as you can see right there. And you are now set up and ready to go. And now with the first 2 videos of our series that we've released, you are ready to do everything and hit the ground running. This is where I want to tell you, I am going to be doing more videos of different blank engraving, metals, plastics, 3D printed materials, woods. We're going to be going through the full suite. So if you want to see those tutorials, subscribe to the channel. And if you are just watching this to see if you like the xTool F2 Ultra laser, then feel free to use the affiliate link if you would like to buy your own to support the channel, to give a little something back, which allows us to make these videos for you. And we'll be making more and more of them. So once again, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one.